I'm very happy to talk about Hot Fuzz in the week where Washington, D.C. has federalized its police. There was never going to be a bad time for us to talk about Hot Fuzz, but it feels like a particularly salient time.
It's the sound of the police.
Whoop. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, so we've immediately started talking about American politics in the first breath.
So far, you've got it into Sunshine and Michael Clayton.
Yeah, I don't think we talked about it too much in Juno.
No, it didn't come up.
And also, you just brought it up.
Yeah, well, that was my salient, I don't know. that was my salient commentary.
Yeah, well, we're in, but like you said, it's something that we kind of need in today's day and age with the kind of crap that's going on around us. So, what?
Just keep it light. I would.
The world is burning. Let's watch Hot Fuzz.
Lucy, what happens in the film Hot Fuzz?
So Hot Fuzz is a comedy film about a character played by Simon Pegg called Nicholas Angel, who is too good and he solves too many crimes. So he gets excommunicated from the Met Police in London and sent to Gloucester, which is a town in Gloucester called Sandford, which is apparently the safest town in the UK. And it's very sleepy. The police officers in the police station sit around eating cake, making fun of each other, not really doing any police work. They let young people in the bar, that kind of thing. And it's all for the greater good. Again, a line that is recycled the whole way through the film. But as the film progresses, these accidents keep happening, which Nicholas Angel finally realises and manages to convince a few people that they are actually murders. They're all really gruesome, and in true sort of murder mystery style, they unfold as we go through, and specific characters who were about to reveal elements of the story get killed. And it just gets sillier and sillier and sillier throughout the rest of the film. It's just silly, just completely silly, but brilliant.
There is some background to this. It was a deliberate attempt to move British cinema away from gangster movies and into something a bit more fun. But Edgar Wright is, renowned for flipping genres. So, yeah, it's more of the same from him, really. Lucy, what has this got to do with the Cornetto trilogy?
So Hot Fuzz sits as the naughty middle child between three films which form the Cornetto trilogy, starting with Shaun of the Dead, then followed by Hot Fuzz, and then finally World's End.
Yeah, they're all quite naughty, aren't they? Bad parents.
Terrible parents. I would say that I actually think Hot Fuzz is my favourite. I didn't really like World's End, but you have a difference of opinion there.
Yeah, so because I was paying attention to film promotion at the time, I remember the long run-up to this film, the publicity around it. They were pretty savvy to early stuff around like hype. And I love Shaun of the Dead, love it. I love George A. Romero zombie films, and so I was well into Shaun of the Dead, and I was a bit unsure about this one. Everyone at the time loved the fact that an old lady gets kicked in the head in the trailer for this film, and I swear they've softened that kick in the actual film. I'm sure it was a lot more visceral in the trailer. But so by the time the film came out, which was Valentine's Day 2007, you don't fancy going to check out a film. What are you doing on
So it's a really romantic evening.
Yeah, we could take in a nice little stroll along the Thames, and then we could saunter up to Leicester Square.
Is this what you said to your partner at the time?
No. No, I went to a screening of this, I think, so she would have been at home. I really loved Shaun of the Dead, and I was very aware of the build-up and the eventual release of this film. And as a team, we were a bit over it by the time it came around. So when I watched it, I remember thinking, this is funny, this is definitely funny, but I found it a bit long, and it wasn't my favourite. But I liked it, and I knew why people would like it, and I knew why it would be successful. But if we're going to talk about the trilogy, I actually prefer World's End, which is really weird because it's definitely not the best, but I prefer it, I think, because Nick Frost is so much more interesting in it as a character than he is in Shaun and Hot Fuzz. Because he's kind of similar in Hot Fuzz and Shaun, I think. He's a bit of a dickhead in Shaun of the Dead, but he's like a slobby dude. And in Hot Fuzz, he's a sort of bumpkin, but he loves action films. If he went off the rails, he'd end up like Ed in Shaun of the Dead. Whereas in World's End, he's completely different. His character is so dry and gruff and grumpy that it spoke to me on a spiritual level.
I wonder why.
Yeah, and for that reason alone, and the point that he gets halfway through the film and then just like loses it and then becomes, more of a badass, I guess, is just really fun to watch. And there are, in spite of all we're going to talk about jokes about Hot Fuzz, and there are some absolute bangers, but some of the best jokes are in World's End. My favourite joke in World's End is...
He's off on one. Here we go. Are you ready, guys?
This is the only time I'm ever going to be able to talk about World's End in this capacity. So my favourite joke in World's End is where they're at the end of the film talking about what?
My favourite joke in World's End.
Damn it, I meant to ask you at the beginning, how long do you think you could go before this goes west?
Less than 10, babes, less than 10.
Southwest.
I mean, I have to, because I think that maybe my West Country accent is better than everyone's in the film of Hot Fuzz, which I was actually going to ask you, do you think it's deliberately rubbish? Like it's played for laughs, like it's deliberately hammy?
Well, the accent, you mean?
Yeah, like Jim Broadbent's is awful.
Yeah, there are some terrible ones. And also, Dalton doesn't do anything to he doesn't even try to do a West Country accent. So that, and I think that's an accurate depiction of people from that part of the world, is like, it's quite broad. You get people with a more or less neutral accent like me, and then you get people that, you think talk the way they do when you do your accent. And then you get like London overspill, and then you get a weird mix of all of those. And so it's all over the place.
Then you get the guy that goes...
So you get that guy like... and you get the inbred who just says yarp. It's all over the shop. But that was something I later became more sensitive about, was the crimes against rural accents in this film.
Justice for Tae and his Wiltshire accent.
It only comes out apparently when I'm tired or grumpy or drunk, I think, or on purpose.
Yeah, or like certain words.
Anyway, as I was saying, before you so rudely sidetrack me, my favourite joke in The World's End, and I'm glad you asked, thank you, is at the end of the film when they're trying to make a case for humanity against, I don't know what they call the intelligence or whatever, and Simon Pegg's character says, and he's drunk, right? I think he's like trying to be drunk. And he says, anyway, to err is human. So, which is fucking amazing. As jokes go, I don't know. Maybe it just speaks to me because it's not so rooted in West Country tropes. But yeah, I love it.
I don't know, actually. I know for sure that Hot Fuzz is a sort of a gentle ribbing of the West Country. Maybe not even that gentle, quite harsh. But obviously Edgar Wright is from the West Country, so he's allowed to. And it's kind of, he sort of made what he knows, right?
Yeah, not just Edgar Wright. Simon Pegg is from Gloucester, or the Gloucester area. You can tell it in the way he says how. He says how. So yeah, there's a few knocking around. It is hard to spot a genuine West Country accent in this film, and Nicholas Angel isn't doing one. But they're all pretty funny. Like, it's funny to hear someone from the West Country say arse, so you can always have that in there. It's a given.
We've sort of started talking about a few of the characters so far, but let's set the table. You've got Nicholas Angel, played by Simon Pegg, who is set up in the opening sequence as a hyper-competent, painfully serious London cop who's basically exiled to the countryside for being too good at his job. Playing alongside Simon Pegg, you have Nick Frost, who plays Danny Butterman, who Tae has referenced as being that country bumpkin.
Look at the name. Danny
Butterman.
Danny Butterman.
I love it.
Even if you try and say it posh.
Butterman.
There's no escape.
I love it, yeah. He embodies that quite sort of sweetheart, easily manipulated guy. He's the local PC. He's the son of Jim Broadbent's character, who is the chief, and he loves action movies more than actual police work. And they're set up initially as he's sort of the irritant to Nicholas Angel, who has been essentially excommunicated from the Met, sent to Gloucester. He's really downcast about it, cares about doing a good job, and feels like he can't because he's working with these kind of simpletons that just sit in the office and eat cake.
And then from there on, the cast just gets more and more ridiculous. But we haven't talked about Dalton.
Oh, yeah. Talk to me about Timothy Dalton.
I think pretty sure the first words he says in the film are, "I'm a slasher, lock me up." He literally says this, like, talk about foreshadowing. This is something that Edgar Wright was very hot on, was like basically telegraphing all the stuff ahead of time. You can't do that much more than getting Dalton to introduce himself by saying, "I'm a slasher of prices, lock me up." He ends on a little one as well. He says, "Catch me later, bye." He's running while they do this. He's amazing. And he is basically like just winking at the camera all the way through the film. There's like a second of him actually accidentally looking into the camera, which is almost like a little accidental fourth wall break. But he may as well be all the way through the film going, "It's me, I'm doing this." Or at least he's one of the people doing it. He was so good in this. I loved it.
Well, yeah, but obviously the reason they're doing that is because in all good murder mysteries, the evidence is laid out for the audience or the reader, if we're looking at books, and you just have to, look for the clues yourself. But they're just hamming it up even more. And I was actually thinking about the choice of Timothy Dalton, because it could have been anyone really at the time. But I wonder if it was that almost like hero worship, because obviously they are like absolute film nerds, aren't they? Like Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg. And I wonder if they were like, we've got to get Bond. We've got to get a Bond in there. And they've got to get Bond playing the baddie. It's just got to be that.
Edgar Wright modelled the character on a supermarket boss that he worked for when he was younger. And but they always had someone like Dalton in mind when they were moulding the character. And then eventually they were like, should we just ask him? And he was into it.
It's one of those things where you just imagine a specific person, or you start naming something, like people naming their babies before they're born with a joke name, and then they actually end up naming their babies that. It's like it's that or nothing. So I guess it was Timothy Dalton or nothing. We will put in the show notes a link to an article that Tae wrote where he interviewed Timothy Dalton, which he forgot about writing, but it's quite a fun little thing. It's a lovely look back onto how the BBC website used to look.
Oh yeah, it's just a Q&A, isn't it? I can't remember doing that. But obviously I did. Just a junket that he did. I think they must have only had him, because I don't remember interviewing the cast or the director, except him. But yeah, and I went in there with my usual sort of top of the pops kind of attitude that I think you can just class as wannabe smash hits. I was very stupid and facile with him, and he had the good grace to be serious and nice. Who else we got in here? We've got the likes of Edward Woodward, the Equalizer himself. He's the head of the NWA, the Neighbourhood Watch Association. You've got Julia Deakin, who plays Mary, but we know her as Marcia from Spaced. She's amazing. Billy Whitelaw, bloody terrifying woman, but is kind of nice in this until the end. And then you've got a load of like British comedy go-tos. You've got Adam Buxton, Joe Cornish is in it very briefly, Kevin Eldon, Bill Bailey, Paddy Considine and Rafe Spall are the Andes, the two detectives who look similar. Really funny. You've got that little clutch of cameos at the start of the film. You've got Martin Freeman, Steve Coogan and Bill Nighy in that order. Stephen Merchant makes an appearance as a human swan.
The only true West Country accent in the whole film.
Yeah, proper West Country. Peter Jackson's in this film. Did you know that?
No.
Peter Jackson, the director of the Lord of the Rings films, is in the very brief cutaway of the Santa Claus who stabs Nick Angel in the hand.
Oh, that's him, is it?
That's Peter Jackson.
Brilliant.
And Cate Blanchett is in this film. Cate Blanchett is playing Janine, Nick's ex-girlfriend, in a mask at the start of the film.
Wow. Oh, that's fun.
This is a genuine reaction from you, Lucy. Did you not know?
I didn't know, no. Both of those things are really new facts for me.
It's bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah, wow. Why could have had anyone? Maybe she just wanted to be in the film.
Just for fun. The cast is insane. But obviously, heading all of those up, you've got Nicolaus Angel, Simon Pegg, and Danny Butterman.
Love. Let's talk about the relationship between those two, because I've sort of touched on it earlier, but they start off as, they're colleagues. Nick Angel finds Danny incredibly irritating. He's just sort of a lump that just asks him loads of very childish questions and doesn't really do much police work. Yeah. But then you get the scene where when Nick Angel finally starts to warm up to Danny, and they go to the pub together, and then Danny invites him in for a drink or a coffee, and Nick Angel kind of goes like, "I don't drink caffeine past 2 p.m. or whatever it is," and he says, "Do you want a beer?" So they go have the beer, and it's almost like they're going in for a little bit of a romantic time. And then you get them talking on the sofa, and there's like real like build up of romantic music. Meanwhile, a crime is occurring the other side of the village. So you intercut between them having their romantic like bromance versus a murder, one of the many murders that happened in the film. But I love that, and it's kind of that sort of like what would we call it? Sort of unexpected love story in the film.
Yeah, I half expected them to really, to go for it. I think all that's missing from their exchanges when they're having these kind of sort of intimate chats is one of them just putting his finger on the other one's lips and just going, shh, don't cheapen this. That's a Spaced reference.
Yeah, I was about to say, isn't that from Space? It's so spacey. Yeah. Even like Nick Frost's character, I know that I can't remember his character's name in Mike in Spaced. He's not like Danny. The dynamic between Simon Pegg as that kind of cantankerous guy that gets irritated by Nick Frost's character in whatever role, whatever film or show they're in. It just works really well.
There is obviously the story about the fact that there was a love interest for Simon Pegg's character in this film that they initially wrote in called Vicky. And they just folded in all of the lines that they could written for Vicky into the dialogue between Frost and Pegg. And I think it shows as well. They practically having sex.
That's excellent trivia. I love that.
There's not a lot of layers to this film, is there, really? Apart from like the plotting and the jokes, it's not like this is a dense, sort of thematically dense film.
I don't know what you mean. It's a masterpiece.
I know. It's good. It's really good, but it's not like a deep thinker, head scratcher kind of movie, right? This is high popcorn, I call it.
High popcorn, yes, for sure.
Edgar Wright's editing style and his filming style, he makes jokes about people asking him, "Oh, did you steal this montage bit from Lock, Stock?" And he'll say, "No, I did what Guy Ritchie did and stole it from Martin Scorsese." So he's very open about like all of his favourite directors and who he's ripped off.
Again, in that that video essay we watched, not video essay, interview, he said, like, I hate it when people say that I'm parodying because I'm not making fun of these films. Like, I'm taking inspiration from them and then making a funny film. But, you know, a lot of it is played for laughs for us, but like a true farce, Nicholas Angel is deadly serious. You know, he really means business. And they all do. They're all, you know, the murderers. They really want to make Sandford great again. But obviously for us, it's hilarious.
Yeah. You were talking about foreshadowing. The thing I love about, obviously a ton of murders happen in this film in the safest village in the country. And every murder is foreshadowed immediately before the murder. Either the person getting killed will say, "Oh, I've got to pop off now," or Simon Skinner will say, "Oh, he'll be in bits in the morning,"
or this is gonna blow or something. This is about to go off.
yeah. So again, Edgar Wright is all about telegraphing everything in this film ahead of time, and you know, hats off to him. He does that. There's so many things, like the start of this basically lays out the language of this film. So you've got a hyperactive montage of stuff happening, which is Edgar Wright's thing, just dedicated to creating something that looks interesting and sounds interesting. And he's got a lot of tricks that just equates to a big old set of jangly keys to dangle in front of your face and keep you engaged. So, yeah. Lucy, tell me about the swan chase, because I don't remember this.
So, early on in the film, where Nicholas Angel is solving the slightly ridiculous and minor crimes that plague Sandford. Sandford. You know, stupid things like someone stealing biscuits or whatever. They get a report of some swans. It turns out to just be one swan, and they just can't catch it throughout the whole film, and it keeps popping up at different points in the film. I think we've talked enough about the swan.
No, we need to just to mention a little bit more. Wales got a Hot Fuzz swan off the back of that film. Edgar Wright is from Wales. It's filmed in Wales, and they got like a swan statue in front of their police station, and when the police station moved, they moved the swan statue as well. And the headline in the local paper was, "Wales policing team and Hot Fuzz swan moved to Burcott Road station."
Great.
And whilst we're talking about swans, if we're not going to be able to talk about swans again, Somerset police officers recreate Hot Fuzz by rescuing injured swan on M5. And last but not least, this is an amazing Twitter post from the AS police in Mendip. It's just one swan, actually. PC Edwards from Response Assisting in Wales. The swan was carefully transported to a local wildlife hospital. So they've dined out on Hot Fuzz quite a bit down there.
They certainly have. And it's just one swan actually is a line from Hot Fuzz, which brings us beautifully onto the point I wanted to make, which occurred to me when I was watching the film. Of all of those quotes, for me, it's like policeman officer and the pen thing and all of that, that I feel like it's just like in our heads. And I've got a few friends that are younger than me that love Hot Fuzz. And I think all three of those Cornetto trilogy films, they are so quotable and they've become sort of like an innate knowledge in, for sure, British culture. You don't need to even, it's not even like a film lovers, but I would say this is a film lovers film, but it's like not, you don't have to be a film nerd. It's just everyone watches these films. And it's kind of akin to, I feel like we're born knowing like the lyrics to ABBA songs or the Beatles or whatever. It's like you just know these films inside out, and you quote them, and they come up in just common parlance. To the extent of when a swan gets rescued by the police, it's quoted on their Twitter post. So, yeah, they've done a really good job of ingraining themselves into British film culture.
Oh yeah,
and British culture as a general rule.
Yeah, 100%. I love the delivery of the "what made you want to become a policeman" joke. It's so obvious, like it's just such a sort of basic joke, but it's Pegg and Frost delivering it. And then I can just randomly say he's not Judge Judy and executioner anywhere at any point, and I enjoy that, and it doesn't matter that the looks that I get. My other favourite thing in this film that I will say all the time, just for my own amusement, is get a look at his arse, which is the best thing to hear whenever you go into a shop.
Sure, you hear it all the time.
It's never happened to me, but I want it to happen. If anyone owns a shop and sees me coming in,
yeah.
And also, like, if anyone asks me if I need anything from the shop, I do instinctively say cornetto.
Yeah.
I do want a swear box with the word on it. And all the other swear words are bleeped out. That's
Love.
fantastic. And the way that the brain freeze joke, I mean, there's so many brain freeze jokes, right? But, you know, brain freeze, no, brain wave. And then, like, get us to the station. And
he goes,
yeah, I think it's, but I laughed out loud. Like,
yeah.
I think it's the fastest instance of brain freeze I've ever seen from, you know, like mouth to head. But it's really funny. I wonder how many times they did that, but it was so good. I genuinely think that was this. I saw this. Some of the behind the scenes stuff is that they had trouble filming some of this because they were laughing at Nick Frost all the time.
I'm sure.
Every time he did his little clap, his little monkey clap, they would laugh.
I've got my drink in my hand, trying not to make a noise every day.
I mean, like the visual jokes and the tight dialogue in this film, there's just so much of it. It's you know, it's just packed, absolutely jam packed. Lucy, some questions for you. Did you know how to tell the two Bill Bailey twins apart?
Yes.
Go on.
One had curly hair. One had sort of straight hair.
So that, I think that was a safety. That was a safety move on their part.
The accent.
No. So
no one tells me anything. No one ever tells me anything.
No one tells me nothing.
No one tells me nothing. That's it.
No, one of them was always reading books by Ian Banks, and the other one was always reading books by Ian M. Banks.
Oh my gosh!
I know, this is the insane level of detail that Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright get into when they're pissing about making films. Aren't we lucky?
We are so lucky. I hadn't noticed that.
No.
I thought only one read a book from my memory. So, yeah.
It's a blink and you miss it kind of thing. Lethal Weapon was a bit of an inspiration when they were trying to figure out a name for this film as well, because they were like, we need 2 words that just do something.
Well, Hot Fuzz makes sense because the police are known as the Fuzz. I'm not sure about hot though. Why is it hot?
I don't think Americans know what we mean when we say fuzz.
No. Again, very British coded.
Yeah. At one point, apparently, Simon Pegg just said, look, let's just get a box of adjectives and a box of nouns and just pull names out of, or pull words out of hats and see what we get. And they ended up with Hot Fuzz. And initially, apparently, they were gonna spell it with 2 T's for some reason, because it felt like a sort of 70s kind of esque way to do it. But they decided not to. Because everyone would just be distracted by the fact that it's called Hot Fuzz, hot, and ask why. So I've done my own pulling adjectives and nouns, and here's what I've got. Big Bobby, Mad Copper, Hot Badge, Fuzzy Justice, Dirty Pursuit.
Ooh.
That's not the reaction I was hoping for, but okay, we'll go with that. Deadly Constable. Slick Bobby. 2 more. Wet Fuzz.
Oh.
And lastly, Filth Patrol.
Great. Love that.
Any one of those? Any takers?
Or was it Slick Bobby?
Slick Bobby.
Slick Bobby.
Yeah. That was fun. Going back to what I was saying at the start, I saw this at the time. I thought it's fine. It does the British filmmaking industry proud. I would say it's not shit. It looks good. it's well made, well directed, technically up there. You know, it can hold its own against, you know, the US or whatever. But I didn't like it as much as I like Shaun of the Dead. And then over time, I have watched it again since, and I'm like, there's so much stuff in this film that I just didn't get when I first saw it. There's so many jokes and so many references, and it's what just, you can't help but admire the effort that went into it at the time. Actually, if you look at the behind the scenes stuff, even though on the surface, if you watch this film, you're like, this must have been so much fun to make. A lot of the behind the scenes is just peppered with people waiting out the rain and, you know, just little bits with Edgar Wright going, I haven't slept in 24 hours and now I've got to do this. And so in spite of all of that pain that they went through to get this film done, it also looked like they had a lot of fun as well, which is really edifying for me. But you can see it on screen, you know, there's a lot of fun stuff. And I think there's mere frames between what you see in the film and then them cutting only to piss themselves laughing because Nick Frost is making them laugh.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like the action sequences where they're like jumping through, like in the pub, and they just, you know what I mean, like kind of Matrix thing. They're going to like land on like a crash mat. There must have been jokes to do. And like you said, the going through the fences scene, which is something that happens in all of these films. So it is just, it must have just been fun and silly. And they must have been excited to see how it all pieced together and how it then eventually looked on screen.
Yeah, but
you kind of you want to know that they're having fun, but going back to what you were saying about the rain. When I was watching it, I was like, when did they film this? Because it's like such nice weather in every scene.
Yeah,
and they're in the West Country, which rains quite a lot. So
I know. Yeah, they got a lot of rain.
So Tae, we've not done this for the other episodes, but I thought it was about time we introduced a rating system. So let's do your rating in 2007 when you first watched it and your rating in 2025, and we'll see if it still stands up. Okay, so
I think in 2007, this was a 3 out of 5 film for me, and that's a mean 3, like it's almost a 4. And I'm using like the BBC Movies rating here. In 2025, I think it's a very well-meaning 4 out of 5. I'd say a 4.5 if they were allowed. I have a lot more admiration for the film now, and the funny bits are still funny, which is, you know, a good sign. It is an enjoyable watch when you're free of all the, oh, it's a trilogy, and oh, it's there was a lot of like big British noise about it at the time, and once you get away from all of that and you just see it out of all of that context and just enjoy it for what it is super fun to watch. So yeah, 4 out of 5 for me.
It's funny, I don't remember all the hype about it. I definitely watched it
because you were too busy watching the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah. I did actually sometimes watch the Powerpuff Girls.
Have you ever watched the Powerpuff Girls?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
So you've gone up from 3 to 4.5. So I liked it at the time, but I really enjoyed it this viewing, and I've continued to enjoy it when I've rewatched it over the years. So I'm gonna give it a 3 in 2007 and then a 4 for now.
Oh yeah, same.
Yeah, I just think it's a bit long. Like, I actually tried to watch it the other evening and I was falling asleep, so I had to
That's because you're old.
Yeah, leave the last half an hour, which I then watched last night. I think it could have been a bit shorter. That's my only gripe with it.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, it's double thumbs up for Wet Fuzz Filth Patrol.
Slick Barbie.
Yeah, slick badge, hot badge fuzzy justice.
Let's stop before it gets rude.
Yeah, too late. Okay, good stuff. We did it.
We did it. We finally talked about Hot Fuzz after talking about it and teasing it for weeks. Thank you to all of my friends who have been suggesting films for us to do. Seems you're all super excited about the films of 2007. So we will endeavour to do all of them. We won't just do the really highly acclaimed ones either. I think we'll talk about.
We haven't done any yet.
Yeah, we have. Juno was highly acclaimed.
Oh, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, but yeah. Thank you for sending them to me. Do send them in to us. Do we have an email address, Tae?
We do, yeah. It's 07podcast@gmail.com.
Great. Send them to us if you've got any suggestions or recommendations. Anything you'd like us to talk about specifically around the podcast as well. You know, what topics, anything like that. It's your podcast.
Or just to get a shout out in a voice that you feel either one of us is capable of doing.
Yes, I can give you a shout out.
Deadly Constable. And also, we are obviously just starting out, but it would be really great if you listened. But also, what's really even better, even more great, is if you leave us a review, a nice one. Even if it's just a bunch of those stars, just throw those stars at it. You can do that in your podcasting listening app of choice now as well. So you can do it on this very episode if you want.
But please do, because we've just been talking about stars and ratings. So give us a rating. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Indeed.
Sorry, I'm stealing that from Adam Buxton.
That'll do, I think. I think we did it.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Lucy.
Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.